Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Axel Rudakubana. First I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Axel Rudakubana was born on August 7, 2006 in Cardiff, Wales. His parents were from Rwanda and moved to the UK in 2002. Axel was a British citizen. His father drove a taxi, and his mother stayed home and took care of Axel and his older brother. In 2013, his family moved to Southport, which is 20 miles north of Liverpool. In 2018, they moved to Banks, Lancashire, just outside Southport. The family lived in a semi-detached house in a cul-de-sac called Old School Close. Starting in 2017, Axel attended Range High School in Formby. In October 2019, he attracted the attention of law enforcement when he contacted a British counseling service for children called Childline. Axel asked, "What should I do if I want to kill somebody?" He later explained that he wanted to murder someone who was bullying him at school. The police paid him a visit. He was expelled from school after admitting that he had taken a knife there on about 10 occasions. Axel was transferred to the Acorn School in Ormskirk. He was asked why he had taken the knife to his previous school, Range High School. Axel replied, "To use it." In November 2019, Axel was referred to a counterterrorism program called Prevent because he had researched school shootings during an IT class. In December 2019, Axel took a taxi to Range High School. There he used a hockey stick to threaten students and teachers. He struck one student with the hockey stick and broke their wrist. When the police arrived, they searched Axel and found a knife in his backpack. In February 2020, Axel was charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm, possession of an offensive weapon, and possession of a bladed article. He pleaded guilty to these charges. Axel was banned from the Acorn School for a few months. He returned in July 2020 under supervision, but stopped attending in May 2021. A few months earlier, in February, Axel had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Axel ended up being referred to the Prevent counterterrorism program 2 more times, once for uploading images of the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi to Instagram, and once for researching the 2017 London Bridge terror attack on a school computer. Nothing ever came of these referrals. Axel's behavior did not meet the criteria for the program. In November 2021, Axel kicked his father and damaged a car. This resulted in negative contact with law enforcement. In March 2022, Axel's mother reported him missing, and a bus driver called the police, saying that Axel failed to pay the fare. Starting in September 2022, Axel attended the Pressfield High School and Specialist College in Churchtown. His anxiety was pronounced, and he was spending most of his time inside. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On July 13, 2024, Axel Rudakubana purchased an 8-inch kitchen knife from Amazon at a cost of 1.7 pounds. At 17, he was not old enough to accept delivery of this knife, so one of his parents accepted delivery. On July 29, 2024, Axel ordered a taxi using the fabricated name Simon. He was picked up at 11:10 a.m. Axel was wearing a green hoodie and a surgical mask and concealing the 8-inch knife. The taxi dropped Axel off on Hart Street in Southport at 11:40 a.m. Axel asked the driver to point him to 34A Hart Street, then walked away from the taxi without paying the fare. 34A Hart Street was the address of a community studio called the Hart Space. It was in the upstairs unit of a commercial building. The Hart Space often hosted events related to yoga and children. On this particular day, July 29, a Taylor Swift-themed workshop had started at 9:30 a.m. 26 children, mostly between the ages of 6 and 11, were gathered in the studio to participate in yoga, dancing, and the construction of friendship bracelets while singing along to the music of Taylor Swift. At 11:45 a.m., Axel entered through the front door of the building and walked up a flight of stairs to get to the studio. Once there, he produced the knife and perpetrated a stabbing attack. He moved quickly and silently through the room, stabbing victims seemingly at random. An organizer of the workshop named Leanne Lucas was stabbed in the back 5 times. Despite this, she managed to get some children out of the studio and called emergency services. Axel confronted a man named Jonathan Hayes, who was working in the office in the same building as the studio. Jonathan attempted to escape, but Axel followed him into his office, attacked him, and injured Jonathan's leg. At 11:57 a.m., the police arrived on the scene. They confronted Axel as he was holding a knife and standing over a victim's body. The police ordered him to drop the knife, which he did. Axel was arrested without incident. 2 girls were pronounced dead at the scene, 6-year-old Bebe King and 7-year-old Elsie Dot Stancomb. On the next day at 1:20 a.m., a 9-year-old girl named Alice da Silva Aguiar died in the hospital. 8 other children, as well as the 2 adults I mentioned, were injured in the attack. Axel was arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder, and possession of a bladed article. Later, he was additionally charged with the possession of ricin and an Al-Qaeda training manual. On January 20, 2025, Axel Rudakubana pleaded guilty to all 16 charges against him. 3 days later, he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 52 years. The judge indicated it is unlikely Axel will ever be released from prison. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. As a child, Axel was described as quiet and unassuming. On occasion, he would stare at people and not say anything, which led to him being viewed as disturbing and creepy. He was active in drama and was part of a musical theater group. However, Axel did not get along well with his peers. He accused them of bullying and was an outcast. In 2021, 3 years before the attack, Axel obtained the Al-Qaeda training manual. He appeared to be highly interested in knife tactics, which were detailed in this document. In 2022, Axel obtained castor beans, which of course contain ricin. With the quantity of beans he had, he could have produced between 1.07 and 5.33 grams of ricin. This would have been sufficient to kill 12,000 people. There is no indication that Axel was able to purify the ricin, so he was far from achieving this goal. In 2023, Axel obtained a tablet which he used to view violent videos and images. He appeared to be obsessed with all types of homicide and enjoyed cartoons which insulted various religious belief systems. Axel had autism spectrum disorder, but did not have any associated learning disabilities. He also suffered from anxiety, which often prevented him from leaving home. At the time of the murders, he was thought of as a recluse. Item number 2, the stabbing attack on July 29, 2024, may not have been Axel's first attempt. A week earlier, on July 22, he ordered a taxi to take him to Range High School. Again, this is a school that Axel had previously attended and was banned from. When he ordered the taxi, he was wearing a green hoodie and a surgical mask, the same items he wore during the stabbing attack on Hart Street. Before Axel could get into the taxi, his father spotted him and told the taxi driver not to take him to Range High School. Axel returned to his residence with his father. It is reasonable to believe that Axel planned on perpetrating an attack at Range High School that day. Item number 3, many people are upset and confused as to why Axel was not accepted into the Prevent program. He was referred to this program on 3 occasions, yet was rejected in each instance. This program has specific criteria which must be satisfied. Apparently, Axel's behavior did not qualify him for services. Even after the stabbing attack, law enforcement did not view Axel's behavior as being connected to terrorism. There was no evidence that his mission was to advance a political, religious, racial, or ideological cause. He may have committed the murder simply because he wanted to kill. There was no larger purpose or message that he wanted to communicate. The attack was not designed to cause a shift in behavior based on fear or anything else. After he was arrested, Axel indicated that he was glad his victims were dead. It made him happy. He did not say anything about advancing a cause. Item number 4, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Axel was self-centered, impulsive, irresponsible, socially awkward, angry, cold, callous, anxious, violent, full of rage, antisocial, and exceedingly creepy. He was ostracized by his peers due to mental health factors. Axel did not fit in with others and gave up trying. A hatred toward society developed inside him. At first, he was conflicted by these feelings. Axel even reached out for help, but he ended up slipping through the cracks. Eventually, he became determined to make society pay by killing as many people as possible. He was attracted to materials on terrorism, not for ideological reasons, but simply because that was a convenient place to learn about homicide. In order to be as destructive as possible, Axel attempted to make ricin. He gave up on this when it proved more complicated than he thought. Axel decided to adopt a more straightforward tactic. He purchased an 8-inch knife for a stabbing attack. Range High School was Axel's first target idea, but his plan fell apart when his father spotted him getting into the taxi. At this point, Axel set his sights on the Taylor Swift-themed workshop in Southport. He selected this target because the victims were highly vulnerable. Nobody would have been expecting an attack like this. Axel was a coward. He was not primarily interested in attacking people who could fight back. After carrying out the attack, Axel was arrested. He did not have a plan for escape. Rather, he understood that he would be spending the rest of his life in prison. The only thing that Axel wanted people to know about the attack was how it made him happy. He achieved his objective. He destroyed innocent lives and can now replay that memory for the rest of his life. Axel is probably pleased with the outcome. He knew what he was getting into. The authorities should have been able to stop Axel, especially considering how many times he warned them through his disturbing behavior. The problem is that Axel's unusual profile did not fit with the threats which were being anticipated at the time. There was this idea that the most dangerous individuals were ideologically motivated. This is who the government was worried about, not someone who kills for the sake of killing. The authorities failed to understand that a person's motive to kill does not make them any less dangerous if there is an intent to kill. If a person plans on killing people, that is bad enough. It doesn't make any sense to divide perpetrators by motive and then ignore some of them because they possess an uncommon motive. Instead of naming the program Prevent, it should have been named Overlook, because that's exactly what it did. Axel had proven himself to be dangerous long before the stabbing attack. It's almost like he wanted people to know what he was planning to do. He was upfront about his intent to kill using a knife. There is this sense that Axel simply could not get anyone to listen to him until it was too late. Those are my thoughts on the case of Axel Rudakubana. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.